So these are just a few observations about the topic today, that is the strategic security challenges and opportunities in the Indian Ocean. I would say that challenges and opportunities are interrelated. Many times the challenge gives you an opportunity, and many times while exploiting the opportunity, you face many types of challenges. So these two are very interrelated kind of words. The Indian Ocean is a vast theater stretching from the Strait of Malacca and western coast of Australia in the east and to the Mozambique Channel in the west. It encompasses Persian Gulf and the Arabian Sea in the north, all the way down to the southern Indian Ocean. The land area is inhabited by almost 2.7 billion people. We have resource rich Africa, we have energy dense Middle East, and we also have South Asia, which is a big labor market, and of course, our manufacturing industries. So, the stability of the Indian Ocean is very crucial to the global economy. Now, what are the challenges as we see it? The first challenge is probably competition, especially between India and China. And then there are also risks related to interstate conflicts. The second challenge is terrorism, threats to the safety of shipping, including as a consequence of maritime terrorism incidents, organized crime, piracy, and armed robbery against the ships. The third challenge I see is marine accidents and casualties caused by navigational shortfalls, use of substandard ships and equipment, and human errors. The next one is inadequate capacity in terms of maritime surveillance and search and rescue capabilities of the littoral countries. Then there are non-traditional threats, security threats like climate change impact, natural disasters, illegal fishing, drug smuggling, human trafficking, etc., etc. So these are the challenges that you're likely to face. I will add one more, and I will explain why. This is an internal challenge of governance, and that is government ad hocism and corruption. I would like to give an example here of what exactly happened, why I say that these are probably the biggest challenges that the Indians have. I was in service when 1993 bomb blast happened, the serial bomb blast in Mumbai. So as a reaction to that, we started what we call Marine Police today. And how did that happen? For that, I have to tell you one incident that happened in my life. I was posted in Patna, and on LTC, I had to travel to Pune. So I'd got first class tickets. I went to the railway station. I searched, I couldn't find the first class bogie there at all. So I caught hold of the TC. I said कि साहब ये फर्स्ट क्लास का टिकट है, लेकिन कहीं डब्बा ही नहीं दिखाई दे रहा है फर्स्ट क्लास का. He said, sir, don't worry. He went to his office and he came back with a magic wand. That was a chalk. What he did is, there was a second class bogie. He struck 2 and wrote 1. He said, sir, आपके लिए. So we created Marine Police more or less like that. There were some coastal police stations, without even thinking whether the policeman posted there can swim, they were turned into Marine Police stations. So this kind of ad hocism, and even this discontinued after a while. And because of that, we had to face the problem of 2008, the terrorism attack on Mumbai, Taj and all that. So this ad hocism has created huge problems. Actually, I was hoping that Krishna Prakash will be here, but I don't see him here. He couldn't make it. Because I would love to know what exactly has happened to Marine Police and how they're functioning now. They might have acquired some boats, vagara, but I really don't know whether there is any infrastructure in place for marine policing, and this is something which really bothers me. Because if we don't pay much attention to this, it's going to create a huge problem in future also. And the second thing is corruption. As I said, I was part of the investigating team of 1993 bomb blast. There is a recorded statement of Additional Commissioner Customs. And it says, sir, We are also patriots. We did not know that they were smuggling RDF. We thought it is normal gold and watches. So you may have any kind of system in existence, but if there is corruption in the system, if the system is compromised, you're not likely to have any success. So from my point of view, these are the biggest challenges that we are going to face anywhere, and especially in the maritime domain. Then there is one more challenge. There are diverse organizations that have evolved over time to address the maritime safety and security concerns at the sub-regional level. So harmonizing maritime governance may need an overarching institution that could synergize all these efforts and improve wider maritime governance and enhance maritime safety and security in the region. I would like to elaborate the Chinese threat a bit more. Starting with anti-piracy operations, China has now emerged as a partner for the islands and littoral countries in the Indian Ocean. The Maritime Silk Road under Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative has provided an added platform to collaborate on economic and military issues. In 2017, Beijing set up its first overseas military facility in Djibouti on the Indian Ocean coast. Now, France, Japan, and USA already have such facilities in Djibouti. India is the primary partner for Sri Lanka, Maldives, Mauritius, and Seychelles. France is the key partner for French-speaking Madagascar and Comoros. But China is the only one which has diplomatic missions and presence across all these 6 island nations. Then, as part of its far seas operating philosophy, China is in possession of Sri Lankan Hambantota, where for developing a port and special economic zone, they have given out huge loans, and now Sri Lanka is in a debt trap. Maldives has received generous aids from China, and again, it's a feature of so-called debt trap policy that China follows. And since Maldives represents a buffer zone surrounding India's maritime strategic space, we have to be very careful about Chinese encroachment, and that is of, again, a very serious concern to us. Although the present Maldivian government is a bit sympathetic, more sympathetic to India, but we have to keep a lookout. What could be the solution? As I see it, India should look to develop interdependencies with neighboring countries, both economically and strategically. India has settled its disputes, maritime disputes, so far only with one neighbor, and that is Bangladesh. There are maritime disputes with everybody else. Now, what are the opportunities in the Indian Ocean region? Indian Ocean, oceans basically are new economic arteries. The oceans as global highways of connectivity have been the principal means for propagation of political, social, cultural, economic, and military influence. The Indian Ocean has the potential to become the most important resource of new global growth, as its channels carry 2/3 of world oil shipments and 1/3 of bulk cargo and half of all container ship traffic. The importance of trade and the sheer scope of its many subregions make Indian Ocean very critical in terms of military and strategic engagements. It's a vital trading hub connecting the Middle East to Southeast and East Asia, as well as Europe and the Americas. Any disruption along its trading routes will impact the entire global energy security, let alone that of significant economies like China, Japan, and South Korea, which depend on energy imported primarily via Malacca states. Interestingly, and I think the Navy people might be in a better position to explain this, Admiral A.T. Mahan was a firm believer in control of the sea, saying that if you want to be a big power or great power, control of the sea is very important. From that point of view, if you consider the SLOC, sea lines of communications in the Indian Ocean, of the world's 7 key choke points for oil transportation, 3 are in the Indian Ocean. The first choke point is the Malacca Strait between Malaysia, Singapore, and the Indonesian island of Sumatra, which connects South Asia and the Western Pacific to the Indian Ocean. The second is the Straits of Hormuz, which is the only sea passage connecting Persian Gulf to the wider Indian Ocean. The third is the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which flows between Eritrea and Djibouti in the Horn of Africa and Yemen on the Arabian Peninsula, connecting the Red Sea to the Indian Ocean. And finally, the fourth one, there is also the Mozambique Channel between Madagascar and Mozambique, which is a key trading route for goods transiting the Cape of Good Hope and the Middle East and Asia. So, if you want to have security, you have an opportunity of emerging as a naval power, which can influence all these choke points. And I'm told again, the people from the Navy might be in a better position to say that India itself is structured in such a way that it's an unsinkable aircraft carrier, the triangular shape of India. So we are at such a strategic position that if you want to, we can definitely have huge influence, and that will present a big opportunity for India in the maritime domain. In fact, Peter Zeihan is one of the proponents of this theory that Indians are probably going to control the trade in future because of the unique position that Indian subcontinent occupies. I just want to add a few statistics about the Indian coastal line and I will stop. India has a 7.5 thousand kilometer coastline. There are 12 major ports and 187 minor and intermediate ports. Recently, the Supreme Court has given some powers, extra powers to the police. In the past, we had no power to investigate anything that happens on the seas, actually. And that was one of the constraints we faced when we were investigating the 93 bomb blasts as well as 2008 bomb blasts also. The Supreme Court in January 2013 order in the Italian marine case gave limited state police jurisdiction to investigate offenses which were confined only to territorial water, that is 12 nautical miles from the shore. And central agencies had jurisdiction beyond that up to the exclusive economic zone, that is 200 nautical miles. In June 2016, the Union Ministry has issued a gazette notification invoking the Territorial Waters, Continental Shelf, Exclusive Economic Zone, and Other Maritime Zones Act. This is the big name of one act only, of 1996, to empower 10 police stations located on both East and West Coast to investigate any offense committed by any person between EEZ. So the scope of investigation of the police has been expanded quite a bit, but it is confined to 10 police stations. Now, as I said, my only worry is that if we continue with the ad hocism and if we only react to a situation, then maybe we may not be able to meet the challenges or take advantage of the opportunities which are available to us in the Indian Ocean region.